The opinions expressed on this show are those of the participants, the hosts, the guests, and the callers, and do not necessarily reflect the opinions and views of Southern Stone Communications, WNDB Radio, its employees, and friends. Comments regarding WNDB's programming can be addressed to D. Lang at DaytonaRadio.com.
Live from Daytona Beach, Florida, bringing a voice to America's forgotten working class, speaking the truth for the America that Washington left behind, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. This is Trump Talk Live, where we the people have the right voice, presented by the Republican Party of Volusia County. Here now are your hosts for this episode, Vic Baker and Joe Fieldus.
Greetings, fellow American Patriot Trumpublicans. Welcome to the Mueller-Trump Showdown. Mystery of the FBI lovers' missing messages. FBI secret society. FISA memo time bomb. Schumer shutdown. Democrat DACA debacle. Mickey Mouse bonuses. Solar panel tariffs. And bold alliance of biblical proportions episode of Trump Talk Live. The home of fearless truth-telling about our transformational, one-of-a-kind president and his bold agenda to defend our borders, rebuild our military, and teach the world what America first means. Donald Trump will not shy away from Robert Mueller. Lawyers are warning that a one-on-one meeting with a special counsel is a perjury trap, a setup. After all, Mueller has been digging for months. He doesn't have to find a crime. All he has to do is create one by tripping up the chief executive with a slip of the tongue, a misstatement of a fact. Then it's gotcha. Mueller already knows the answer to every question he'll ask. President Trump says that unlike Hillary, who got a kid-glove treatment from the FBI as a candidate, he will do it under oath. Donald Trump says he did nothing wrong and has nothing to hide. This whole Russian collusion delusion will come to a head in a few weeks. Be very, very careful, Mr. President. The far bigger scandal, though, is enveloping America's premier law enforcement agency. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is no stranger to blackmail and dirty dealings. After all, J. Edgar Hoover lasted for decades because he had dirt on everyone, including presidents who were afraid to fire him. President Trump fired J. Edgar Comey, but then came the Mueller probe. And now we're seeing texts between two Trump-hating FBI lovers revealing rabid bias against the new president, and talk of a secret society within the Bureau dedicated to bringing him down. 50,000 of these texts disappear, but not before we've seen very disturbing evidence of a dirty cop agent plotting to undo our president. The Inspector General found those missing messages, by the way. D.C. is holding its collective breath for the release of a House Intelligence Committee memo exposing outrageous abuses of law, including the use of the phony Trump smear dossier funded by Hillary and the Democrats. That smear job was used to get a FISA court warrant to spy on Trump and his team. Remember March 4th of last year? The mediocrats scoffed when President Trump said Obama had him wiretapped. Now it looks like the tip of the iceberg. Some people need to be fired, many need to go to prison. Hillary, you're not off the hook, and neither are the former president nor his crooked cronies at Justice, FBI, CIA, and the State Department. Senator Chuck Schumer's Schumer shutdown didn't last long. Schumer blinked on his demand for an immediate DACA fix on his terms. Even Democrats on the left are shaming Schumer for his arrogant Democrat DACA debacle. Now Schumer has taken the wall off the table. Really? You lost, Chuck. You don't have a lot of leverage. Give the president his wall, end chain migration, end the visa lottery, and bolster border security. Then we'll talk about DACA. Don't try this again. It won't end well. Trump doesn't like losing. Oh, and the lights will be on when the president delivers his first State of the Union address on Tuesday. Get out the popcorn, folks. Our president is telling so-called sanctuary cities they cannot opt out of enforcing federal immigration law. That's the exclusive domain of the federal government. Comply with the law, defend our borders. Otherwise, President Trump will ice you with arrest warrants and subpoenas. And after a busy week in D.C., President Trump is in Davos, Switzerland, teaching the globalists about his America First and free enterprise policies. Here's a clue. Free enterprise works best when nations defend their sovereignty and the people who pay their taxes. Vice President Mike Pence reaffirms America's solidarity with Israel and says the U.S. Embassy will soon move to Jerusalem, sooner than you think, the home of the world's 3 Abrahamic faiths. Trump Talk Live comes to you each Thursday night from the Daytona Beach studios of WNDB, 93.5 FM and 1150 AM on the dial. Our maestro of the microphones, Phil Kincaid, artfully delivers the voices of Trump to you through the magic of radio. You can also get to us by going to TrumpTalkLive.com to listen online. When the Wi-Fi gods smile on us, and they are tonight, you can watch Trump Talk live on Facebook. Just go to the Volusia County Republican Party Facebook page to watch. Also, watch our web stream by searching Trump Talk Live on the Vic Baker channel through YouTube. Listen to archived episodes by subscribing to the Trump Talk Live podcast on iTunes or Google Play. It's like a time capsule, folks. I'm your fearless Trumpublican truth teller, Vic Baker, hosting Trump Talk Live tonight alongside the intrepid America First blogger and insightful analyst of all things Trump, 2016 Trump-Pence Volusia chairman, Joe Felix.
Good evening, Vic. Hello, friends. Last week on this show, I called for the prosecution of those who tried to overturn the free and fair election of 2016. The charge would be treason. More evidence has since been reported, which we're going to discuss in detail tonight, that something seriously wrong and illegal occurred at the highest levels of the Obama administration, at his Department of Justice, and at the FBI. Michael Goodwin, an old-school journalist who's followed our political world his whole career, including 16 years at the New York Times, and he's now chief political correspondent at the New York Post, published his blunt assessment of all this yesterday. Quote, "Each day brings credible reports suggesting there is a massive scandal involving the top ranks of America's premier law enforcement agency. The reports, which feature talk among agents of a secret society and suddenly missing text messages, point to the existence of a cabal dedicated to defeating Donald Trump in 2016 and of a plan to let Hillary Clinton skate free in the classified email probe. If either one of these is true, and I believe both are probably true, it would mean FBI leaders betrayed the nation by abusing their powers in a bid to pick the president." End quote. I believe what we're witnessing is the discovery of an attempt to rig a presidential election, and when that failed, an attempt to remove the duly elected president. We've never seen anything like this because in our country, there's never been anything like this. This extraordinary case is being methodically made public in a slow-motion way in order to prepare us as to the scope of the conspiracy. It's going to be shocking. Prosecuting those who have held the highest seats of power within our government is not a TV show wrapped up in an hour with the criminals in handcuffs. It's a seismic political event that needs to proceed carefully to reassure a watching world that America is a nation of laws and is fully able to deal with those who break them, no matter who they might be. For our part, we, the people, must be sure to elect men and women who truly believe in their oath of office, who will preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, so help them God. Vic, let's roll.
Well, let's get to the 800-pound gorilla in the room and talk about President Trump talking to Mueller in a few weeks, exposing himself to all kinds of tricks that prosecutors can play. He defended his attacks this week, his attacks of investigations into the Russian interference, denying that it amounts to obstruction because he was merely fighting back. He was not obstructing justice. He spoke when reporters asked him, and here's what the president had to say.
Are you going to talk to Mueller?
I'm looking forward to it, actually.
You want to? Do you have a date
Here's
set?
the story, just
Do you
so
have a date set,
There's
Mr.
been
President?
no collusion whatsoever. Yeah. There's no obstruction whatsoever. And I'm looking forward to it. I do worry when I look at all of the things that you people don't report about with what's happening. If you take a look at, you know, the 5 months worth of missing texts, that's a lot of missing texts. And as I said yesterday, that's prime time. So you do sort of look at that and say, what's going on? Mm-hmm. You do look at certain texts where they talk about insurance policies or insurance, where they say the kinds of things they're saying. You got to be concerned. But I would love to do that, and I'd like to do it as soon as possible.
When will you do it, Mr. President? Do you have a date set?
So here's the story.
Do you have a date set, Mr. President?
I don't know. No, I guess you're talking about 2 or 3 weeks, but I would love to do it.
In person.
You know, again, I have to say, subject to my lawyers and all of that, but I would love to do it.
Would you do it under oath, Mr. President?
You mean like Hillary did it under? Who said that? Oh.
I said that.
Oh.
Would you do it under oath?
Oh, you said it. You did say it. You say a lot. Did Hillary do it under oath?
I have no idea, but I'm not asking.
I think you have an idea.
Do you think he'll be fair to you? Do you think he'll be fair?
Wait. Do you not have an idea? Do you really not have an idea? I'll give you an idea. She didn't do it under oath. But I would do it under oath. Listen, but I would do it, and you know she didn't do it under oath, right?
She would do it under oath.
If you didn't do it, if you didn't know about Hillary, then you're not much of a reporter.
So you're going to do it under oath?
Say it.
To reach a higher standard, you would do it under oath.
Oh, I would do it under oath.
Yes, he would. Okay, so, you know, he's walked into buzzsaws before and people have predicted his demise. It hasn't happened. Attorney General Jeff Sessions is the only cabinet member who's had a talk with Mueller. We don't know what was said in that room, of course. We won't find out until maybe sometime later. But in any case, there is more of this mess with the FBI. We're going to hear from Ron DeSantis, Trey Gowdy, and John Ratcliffe about the ugly underside of the FBI when Trump Talk Live returns.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. Stay tuned for more Trump Talk Live, speaking for the America the DC elites forgot.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few hundred extra dollars in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
The Daytona Beach Half Marathon returns February 4th, offering an experience like no other. The half marathon course takes runners from the historic flat asphalt of the Daytona International Speedway over the ISB Bridge to the beach and then back to the iconic speedway for a photo-worthy finish. With a half marathon, relay, 5K, and challenge, there's an event for everyone. And what's more, every finisher earns an incredible medal. Register today at DaytonaBeachHalf.com. That's DaytonaBeachHalf.com.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
President Trump, as we said, went scorched earth on the FBI lovers, Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, saying, where are the 50,000 text messages? Well, the Inspector General of the Department of Justice miraculously has found those missing messages, so stay tuned for more exciting page turners there. It's going to be a lot of interesting stuff coming out of it. And we've already talked about Michael Goodwin, so I'll pass by that. You had that in your opening monologue. Ron DeSantis, our congressman, is hot on the trail on this, and he's ripping the new Strzok text that admits Mueller witch hunt was a nothing burger. And he says, what basis was there to appoint a special counsel in the first place? You know, it's a good question to raise, because even Strzok at the beginning said, I don't see anything here. Well, let's listen to Ron DeSantis talk about those missing texts between Strzok and Page.
We need to figure out where the actual devices were that Page and Strzok utilized. There's no reason those shouldn't be produced. We need an answer on that. And even if there was some type of glitch, the idea that these text messages disappear, that is not the way it works with modern technology. I don't buy this explanation. We need more. Think about this, too. If the FBI were investigating any one of your listeners and they said, oh, documents magically deleted, or whatever the FBI was looking for magically deleted, do you think for 1 minute that they would be able to get away with that? So similar to the IRS, you can't have a situation in which a powerful government agency gets to live under a lower standard than that which it imposes on the American public. And the final thing, I think, is what a critical time period in this whole investigation. I mean, think about it. You're in the Trump transition to start. That was when that discredited dossier was produced for the first time and published by the news media. What was Strzok and Page talking about the dossier? It was also during Trump's early days in the White House when Michael Flynn was interviewed, when different things involving Comey occurred. Are you telling me that they weren't saying all kinds of stuff in those 50,000 messages? These are anti-Trump agents, and it's not just that they were anti-Trump. We already know from the messages we already saw that that affected what they were doing in their jobs.
And the congressman thinks we need a truly independent special counsel this time to look into this, not somebody who's a creature of D.C. swamp.
Well, I think it is clear that the FBI and the DOJ are not going to be able to investigate themselves adequately.
Right.
And if you do a special counsel, Lou, I think it's imperative that that special counsel not just be another swamp dweller. I want somebody outside the swamp who doesn't have any relationships with either of these agencies that could really go in and clean this up. And think about, too, the bias against Donald Trump, I think, is very significant. It's important. But also the mere fact that Strzok and Page, they're having this liaison. They're texting about really sensitive matters. They're opening themselves up to blackmail from our enemies. I mean, that is reckless conduct, even if they weren't politically biased, to be doing that. And somehow they're still working in the Bureau?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. How about
that? Wow. How good was Ron on that?
Yeah. Okay. And they also, let's hear what he has to say about this FISA memo that Schumer and the Democrats are desperate to discredit now.
I've been fighting to make that memo public. I can tell you, it is going to happen. I think that there's precautions that are being taken on the Intel Committee, which I understand, to make sure that when that's done, that there's not damage to any sources and methods. And I don't think there will be. I think they'll do that. So that is being vetted. That is going to happen, and the public will get at least that part of the story. There's other parts of the story that are going to come out, too. So we will do that. And in terms of Christopher Wray, he needs to be brought before the Congress under oath, and he's got to answer these questions very soon. We're breaking now after the shutdown ended. The president's going to give his State of the Union. I think shortly after that State of the Union, we need Wray under the Clegg lights, under oath, to answer these questions.
We absolutely do. And the voters, according to a Rasmussen poll, I think it's a Rasmussen poll. Yes, reports indicates radio, telephone, and online survey indicates 49% of likely U.S. voters believe a special prosecutor should be named to investigate whether senior FBI officials handled the investigation of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in a legal and unbiased fashion, or, in fact, the opposite.
We don't even know what Mueller's chasing after, supposedly this Russian collusion, which doesn't exist. And yet this is a case where there's so much, and these are at the highest levels of government, and yet the special prosecutor doesn't seem to be forthcoming. When is that going to happen? Ron DeSantis just nailed it completely. That has to happen.
Now, Congressman John Ratcliffe, Republican of Texas, is a former federal prosecutor himself, along with Trey Gowdy. He said after reviewing the new text messages that he just saw, says there may have been a secret society of folks within DOJ and FBI working against Trump. By the way, swamp-dwelling attorney from DOJ, he said, it would be terribly harmful if you release this stuff because it would jeopardize national security. No, probably would jeopardize your job security, not national security.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the mystery of the missing text and how that happened. Trey Gowdy talking about that.
Number one, we need to know how the world's premier law enforcement agency managed to lose 5 months' worth of text. And what's also troubling is in the text we do have, they're discussing how to avoid text being captured and secured. So what's missing is important, but also what's there is important. It is manifest bias, not just against Trump, but against his kids, against his business interests. There's a text where they hope the Trump hotel fails. That is a level of bias that you rarely see and you never see from law enforcement officers. What's also troubling to me is this text that Johnny Ratcliffe found last night about this secret society. Now, I have no clue what that means because that was not the phraseology I used, but it's the day after the election, and it's the same two people that were discussing a little bit later in the text the damage they had done with the Clinton investigation and how they could, quote, fix it and make it right. That is a level of bias that is stunning.
It's breathtaking, Joe.
I'm speechless.
And then Gowdy talked about the texts were struck concedes that there's no there with a Russian collusion probe. Let's hear the comment on that.
It tells me that one of the lead counterintelligence agents in the country doesn't think there's anything there. What really disappoints me the most is he has no interest in participating in an investigation that might clear Donald Trump. His only interest is if there's, quote, something there so he can then fix what he did with the Hillary Clinton email investigation. I don't know a cop that is not equally interested in clearing the innocent as they are getting the bad guys. So for him to only be interested if there's, quote, something there where he can get the president is stunning for an FBI agent to admit.
Vic, as of right now, this man, Peter Strzok, is still employed by the FBI.
Yeah, he's in human resources now.
He's still got a job.
He's in human resources. Well, Representative John Ratcliffe talked about Comey and how Comey decided to let Hillary off the hook before he even interviewed her. Well, let's listen to that on FBI texts.
Director, did you make the decision not to recommend criminal charges relating to classified information before or after Hillary Clinton was interviewed by the FBI on July the 2nd?
After. All I can do is tell you again, the decision was made after that because I didn't know what was going to happen in that interview.
Well, I don't think that former Director Comey could have been more clear that the decision wasn't made until after that July 2nd interview, and that's the way that it should have been. But those text messages that we saw earlier today indicate that Lisa Page, Peter Strzok, and Loretta Lynch all apparently knew on the 1st of July that Hillary Clinton wasn't going to be charged. That's inconsistent with what the director said. So he needs to be given the opportunity to come back and clarify his testimony under oath.
Yeah.
He lied under oath, Vic. Comey lied under oath.
Yeah,
Isn't that perjury?
How is that not perjury?
Yeah.
Okay, Trey Gowdy said the fix was in. It's clear.
At some point, we're going to have to talk to him again, not so much about Russia and his removal from office, but about the decisions he made in 2016. It's really clear to me that the decision was made in May of 2016, 2 months before the press conference. So, of course, Loretta Lynch knew it wasn't going to be charged. Everyone except the public knew that she was not going to be charged.
And what about those texts, Congressman Gowdy? What about those texts?
Well, these texts are incredibly important for a number of reasons, both what's there and what's not there. So lay aside this glaring 5-month gap in text that the world's premier law enforcement agency somehow missed. Lay that aside. What we have seen, what Johnny and I saw today, was a text about not keeping text. We saw more manifest bias against President Trump all the way through the election into the transition. And I saw an interesting text that Director Comey was going to update the President of the United States about an investigation. I don't know if it was the Hillary Clinton investigation, because remember that had been reopened in the fall of 2016, or whether it was the Trump investigation. I just find it interesting that the head of the FBI was going to update the President of the United States, who at that point would have been President Obama.
Yeah, President Obama.
Got to report to his
President
boss,
Obama,
right?
who, scoffed when President Trump said he had been wiretapped by Obama's people. Now, Gowdy talked a little bit about the secret society. The secret society that we see evidence of them referencing in the text messages that met the day after Trump's election, off-site, away from the FBI. What's that about? That sounds like a government coup d'etat plot. Listen to Gowdy, cut 5.
You have this insurance policy in the spring of 2016, and then the day after the election, the day after what they really didn't want to have happen, there's a text exchange between these two FBI agents, these two supposed to be objective, fact-centric FBI agents, saying perhaps this is the first meeting of the secret society. So, of course, I'm going to want to know what secret society are you talking about, because you're supposed to be investigating objectively the person who just won the Electoral College. So, yeah, I'm going to want to know.
We're all going to want to know, Congressman.
Wow.
We're all going to want to know.
Holy cow.
So the House Intel Committee is moving strongly, according to Devin Nunes, toward releasing the FISA memo in spite of the squeals and protests from the Department of Justice. And why in fact, with Jeff Sessions being there and the president being who he is, can they get away with that? It's not their call. It's the Attorney General's call and the president's call. So
There's some on the blogs today, Vic. They're talking about the president reading this FISA memo during his State of the Union address.
Yeah, we got a little graphic on
how would that be?
Yeah, I just say, folks, I'm going to start out my State of the Union by reading 4 pages from Devin Muniz.
Wow. I don't think he'll do that, by the way.
Watch some heads explode if that happens. I tell you, Washington would just be a Twitter about that. Okay. The government shutdown was topic 1 on Capitol Hill over the weekend, but that's old news now, Joe. That's gone. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
I want to go back to the Peter Strzok, this woman Page text messages.
Yeah, let's.
Now they went for 5 months. They found them, but they're supposedly that's 50,000 texts in 5 months, and that's only a piece of what these two did while on the job and working as FBI agents. Can you think of that number? You know, I text a little bit. Everybody does. How do you do that many texts?
I text a lot. I don't see how there are enough hours in the day. What other job could they have been doing?
That's like all the time, isn't it?
It seems to me. I don't see how you could physically do any other job if you're just texting each other.
Well, they were having an affair. Maybe some of it was about
50,000 times. Well, yeah.
How to avoid their spouses.
Yeah. In the meantime, FBI Director Wray has replaced a Comey-era chief of staff holdover. That's, one of the gators of the swamp. The Wall Street whistleblower. Now, this is great. Let's look at the graphic for the Clinton Foundation. Former investment banker and self-styled Wall Street whistleblower Charles Ortel, one of the foremost experts on the Clinton Foundation corruption. And according to Ortel, let's put that graphic in, the Clinton Foundation and its network of false front charity initiatives and affiliates remains the largest set of unprosecuted charitable frauds in American history. That's another untapped vein. And speaking of tapped veins and tapped nerves, we have to go to our sponsors and come back in one more minute when we talk about the DACA debacle with the Democrats.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. Don't touch that dial. More Trump Talk Live is moments away, where we the people have the right voice.
It's chowder time again. The 28th annual New Smyrna Beach Chowder Festival, presented by the St. John's Moose Legion number 227, is set for Sunday, January 28th from noon till 5 p.m. The party is on Flagler Avenue, beachside in New Smyrna Beach.
The festival showcases over 20 chowders from area restaurants, with live entertainment and a karaoke contest.
Chowder tasting passports are just $15, and proceeds benefit the Florida Sheriff's Youth Ranches. Tasting passports can be purchased early by texting chowder to 40691. Gather your friends and family and head to Flagler Avenue in New Smyrna Beach for the 28th annual Chowder Festival, presented by the St. John's Moose Legion number 227, Sunday, January 28th from noon till 5. Sponsored by Ruin Zifra, Riverside Clinical Research, New Smyrna Chevy, Metro PCS, and hosted by the Flagler Avenue Hospitality Group and the Flagler Merchants Association, and brought to you by WNDB.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Okay, we want to thank our sponsors, Marino's Pizza in DeLand, Best Pizza in West Volusia, Milne Roofing, 386-986-8688, Milne Roofing. And Sonia Morey, our State Farm agent in DeLand. Ask Sonia for an insurance checkup.
Best insurance agent in DeLand.
Yes, she is.
Okay. All right, here's a columnist who said it's the stupidest damn thing I've ever seen, the Democrats miscalculating the shutdown. He says they really shot themselves in the foot, ran into a wall headline like it's a Roadrunner, Wile E. Coyote cartoon, and Schumer was Wile E. Coyote, and Trump is the Roadrunner.
Well, Schumer has illegal aliens outside his New York City residence making noise all night long so he can't sleep. I don't know how well that works. I don't think the neighbors much care for it. You know, Schumer should have supported the American people. Then it wouldn't happen to him.
Yeah. And so now Schumer has said, that's fine. Schumer has said, then we got Schumer hits the wall. Yeah, there it is. Schumer has said, oh, he's taking the wall off the table now. Now, let me ask you something, Chuck. What do you got for bargaining chips here? You're taking the wall off the table. When you offered the president authorization for the wall, you offered him something you voted for in 2006. It's not like you're offering him something. It's like you're offering him something he already has. Authorization for funding is not appropriation. They're two different things, and people need to understand that. When Schumer said he was offering funding for the wall to Trump as a bargaining chip, he was offering him nothing. Nothing. And the president wants 4 pillars in the agreement to get the DACA people taken care of. Number 1, he wants funding for the wall. Number 2, he wants an end to chain migration. Number 3, he wants an end to the visa lottery system. He wants merit-based immigration. And number 4, he wants additional resources for immigration judges and ICE officers and Border Patrol agents. This is what he wants. Most of the American people agree, by the way. Most of the American people, according to the latest poll, actually want to see massive cuts to legal immigration. They think we're letting too many people in. Did you know that for decades, from, say, right around the early part of the 20th century, they stopped immigration at Ellis Island, and they suspended immigration to the United States so people could assimilate into American society, and it didn't resume at any big measure until 1965 when Ted Kennedy got the floodgates opened up again, saying we need to bring more people to our shores. And so Democrats wanted more voters. That's what that was about. And so that's when it happened. So we went for a very long time without allowing a lot of people into this country. Now, the shock poll is that most Americans, a Harris-Harvard poll taken in the run-up to the shutdown, found Americans strongly support granting citizenship rights to illegal immigrant dreamers, but they also back Mr. Trump's 3 demands for a border wall, limits on the chain of family migration, and an end to the diversity visa lottery system. The poll found most Americans want actual legal immigration capped at $500,000 a year or less, far lower than the current rate of 1.3 million. Okay.
Vic, I think right before we came on the air, there's been some more news about what the president's offering.
Yeah.
We'll have to look on that later, right?
I guess the details will be offered up on Monday, just before the State of the Union.
Right.
And
right.
So the White House condemned this compromise immigration bill that Lindsey Graham and Durbin tried to push, and the Harvard poll seems to agree with that position of rejecting that. Immigration deal is in jeopardy, it says, after Democrats retract the border wall, but you know something? They're going to get a deal. Schumer's going to have to cough up funding for the wall if he wants to get anything on DACA. And considering the way they're camping at his doorstep, at his home in Queens, or not in Queens, in Brooklyn, I think is his home district, considering that, he's going to probably have to do something to get this DACA thing resolved. Now, at the same time, emboldened conservatives in the House are pushing Speaker Ryan to bring harder immigration bill to the floor that has even tougher enforcement. And as I said before, Mick Mulvaney, who's the brilliant director of the Office of Management and Budget, was on the weekend shows explaining to all these folks and educating people like Chris Wallace that Schumer offered Trump worthless offers, and he tried to say we've got a deal. There was no deal there. Schumer played an old bait and switch on us.
I like Schumer in place though, because he's so horrible and so bad at his job. He's like Nancy Pelosi. I want them to stay the face of the Democratic Party for as long as possible.
Okay, moving on now. The 9 of the 10 Democratic senators are running for re-election in states that Trump won. And let's look at the graphic and let's see what's happening to them. Oh my gosh, their approval ratings in all of those 9 states are plunging. John Tester has seen his net approval drop 18% since the first quarter of 2017. Heidi Heitkamp, North Dakota, has seen her net approval drop 11% since the first quarter of 2017. Bob Casey, Democrat, Pennsylvania, has seen his net approval drop 9 points. Claire McCaskill, Democrat, Missouri, has seen her net approval drop 8%. Joe Manchin, West Virginia, one of the Democrats we could actually like.
Oh, no, we don't like him.
Has seen his net approval drop 8%. Joe Donnelly, Democrat of Indiana, net approval dropped 6%. Tammy Baldwin, Democrat of Wisconsin, net approval dropped 6%. Sherrod Brown, Ohio, net approval dropped 4%. And Bill Nelson here in Florida, net approval has dropped 2%. And he's in trouble because Rick Scott is going to wipe the floor with him. So
these Democrats, you're already starting to hear the predictions that they're going to have this great year, this wave election. They're going to take back the Senate. This is all nonsense. They are going to have, since 2010, in the midterm elections, the Democrats have lost over 1,000 seats across the nation, federal, state, and local. They are going to get beat again in 2018, and they think they're going to win.
One other item, sanctuary cities. We're going to go out of sequence here, Phil, to go to that before we go to the March for Life. The sanctuary cities. Trump says he will enforce federal immigration law in so-called sanctuary cities, and that may mean subpoenas and arrest warrants for mayors and other officials that obstruct federal administration of justice with regard to immigration law.
Love to see that. Love it.
Let's hear Trump.
As you know, the Department of Justice today has announced a critical legal step to hold accountable sanctuary cities that violate federal law and free criminal aliens back into our communities. We can't have that. Can't have it. It would be very easy to go the other way, but we can't have it. We want a safe country, and it's getting safer all the time. Sanctuary cities are the best friend of gangs and cartels like MS-13. You know that. The result in the death rate around sanctuary cities in and around for innocent Americans is unacceptable. Take a look at what happened in San Francisco and Kate Steinle and countless others. My administration is committed to protecting innocent Americans, and the mayors who choose to boycott this event have put the needs of criminal illegal immigrants over law-abiding Americans. But let me tell you, the vast majority of people showed up. Okay, the vast majority. Because the vast majority believe in safety for your city.
Mayors like Bill de Blasio boycotted. Now, every 45 years they've had the March for Life, the pro-life movement in Washington, and no American president has ever shown up to speak directly to those folks until now. President Trump.
Today I'm honored and really proud to be the first president to stand with you here at the White House to address the 45th March for Life. That's very, very special. 45th March for Life, and this is a truly remarkable group. Today, tens of thousands of families, students, and patriots, and really just great citizens gather here in our nation's capital. You come from many backgrounds, many places, but you all come for one beautiful cause: to build a society where life is celebrated, protected, and cherished.
Yes, and the president reaffirmed the Right to Life movement is a movement that is based on love.
The March for Life is a movement born out of love. You love your families, you love your neighbors, you love our nation, and you love every child, born and unborn, because you believe that every life is sacred, that every child is a precious gift from God.
So, hard to argue with that, right?
Pro-life people are ecstatic to have this kind of support. They haven't had it lately.
Now, a little bulletin from the House of Mouse. Let's put that graphic up. Disney giving its employees $1,000 cash bonuses and launching a $50 million education program to train its employees to advance their careers. They've joined the ranks of U.S. companies giving out the bonuses. It'll pay over 125,000 employees in the U.S. one-time cash bonuses. And unlike those, some of those paying bonuses, Disney's statement did not specifically credit tax cuts as a catalyst, but you know that's the reason.
Vic, I got one just from this afternoon. Home Depot is awarding its hourly employees a one-time cash bonus up to $1,000. The bonuses are determined at sort of a Walmart scale, the sliding scale, but all of them will get at least a $200 bonus, according to the spokeswoman from that Home Depot told CNBC.
Hard to argue with that. Okay. Now, the president addressed the Conference of Mayors at the White House this week. Of course, I said a few boycotted and then cut their nose off to spite their face because the president was talking about infrastructure for those cities, and those cities are desperate for it. But let's hear the president talk about what we've kind of accomplished together in the past year.
Together we are achieving absolutely incredible results. We have created nearly 2.4 million jobs since the election. Nobody thought that was going to be happening, right? The unemployment rate is at now an 18-year low. African American unemployment, I'm very proud of this. Remember, I used to say, what do you have to lose? And people said, I don't know if that's a nice thing to say. I said, of course it is. For 100 years, the Democratic mayors have done they've done some bad work. I said, what did you have to lose? African American unemployment is at its lowest rate ever recorded. That's not bad. Unemployment for women is at its lowest rate in 17 years, and that's going to be a very new standard very soon. And Hispanic American unemployment, like African American unemployment, is at the lowest rate ever recorded. That's a long time.
That's a long time. Yeah, so let's go on with this now. One of the other things that he talked about was how Apple is bringing billions of dollars back to American shores.
And I spoke to Tim Cook, and you probably heard me on the trail. I'll say I will not consider this job complete and great in terms of the economics and the economy unless Apple someday starts building some plants in our country. And what happened is they said $350 billion. And when I first heard it, Tim Cook and I spoke. But when I first heard it, I said, I guess they mean $350 million, because that's a big plant. You know, $350 million, you can build a lot of plant. But they said, no, sir, $350 billion. And much of that comes from overseas. They're going to bring it back because of the tax bill, because we made it possible for them to bring it back.
Vic, the donkey party is going to claim that they're, again, in 2018, we're in an election year, folks. They're going to claim that they're for working class people. They always do this. But since not a single Democrat voted for the president's tax plan, how is that big lie going to work for them?
It's not. And the president said, you're going to talk about this. You're going to have something like $2 trillion added to the economy for every point of GDP growth. And you're talking a possibility of getting up to 6%, 7% GDP with 10 million new jobs in a year. Now, this is likely to happen because people are getting tax cuts, companies are getting tax cuts, and the argument that, taking away the charitable deduction, people won't donate to charity, these companies are getting very generous with charity because they have more money to work with. People in their hearts want to give to charity. And if you think that people only want to give to charity because Uncle Sam gives them a tax break, you're misjudging what people are about.
Remember this, not a single Democrat voted for the tax bill.
Not one. Not one. And let's see if we can get it so not one person in Florida votes for a Democrat next time. Okay, we'll be back in a moment.
Okay. Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033. We'll be back with more Trump Talk Live, restoring America's founding values 1 hour at a time.
Join us for fine art, wine, and food at this month's Wine Walk, sponsored by Politis and Matavina. Saturday, January 27th on Flagler Avenue in New Smyrna Beach. Sample 20 of more than 100 wines featured along the avenue from 1 to 7 p.m. Wine Walk passports are just $25 and include a keepsake glass. The Art Walk portion offers artists showcasing their creations. And check out gallery guest artist demonstrations from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Head to New Smyrna Beach Saturday, January 27th for Wine Walk on Flagler Avenue, presented by Politis and Matavina.
I'm attorney Michael Politis with Politis and Matavina. Offices Port Orange, Ormond Beach, Orange City, and Palm Coast. Politis and Matavina, the justice attorneys.
Text Wine Walk, one word, to 40691 for more event information. Text rates may apply. Also sponsored by New Smyrna Beach Chevy, Riverside Clinical Research, Exit Realty New Smyrna Beach Property Solutions, Sunglass World of Port Orange, and WNDB.
Your voice can be heard loud and clear right here on Trump Talk Live. Our local number is 239-0033. You can call us toll-free from anywhere in the USA at 800-927-0033.
Welcome back, Trumpublicans. Now, here's one for you. Al Gore. You know, the guy that told us the polar bears would all be extinct by now and the polar ice caps would be melted? Well, he's actually supporting Trump. He's praising Trump because Trump put solar tariffs on imported solar panels to help the solar industry in the United States. Of course, the global community is not happy about that. But
I think Al has some investments in solar panels.
Al has a vested interest, but Trump is basically doing it because he wants America to be first. That's the reason. Now, the first big meeting that Trump had in Davos was with Theresa May. They've had a few moments when she said some perhaps critical things of President Trump, and they've had some words about terrorism and one thing or another, but it's all patched up, and this is what they had to say when they were meeting in front of reporters in Davos, Switzerland today.
We've had a great discussion. We're on the same wavelength in, I think, every respect. The Prime Minister and myself have had a really great relationship, although some people don't necessarily believe that, but I can tell you it's true. I have a tremendous respect for the Prime Minister and the job she's doing, and I think the feeling is mutual from the standpoint of liking each other a lot. And so that was a little bit of a false rumor out there. I just wanted to correct it, right? Because we have great respect for everything you're doing, and we love your country. We think it's truly good. And we're working on transactions in terms of economic development, trade, maybe most importantly, military. We are very much joined at the hip when it comes to the military. We have the same ideas, the same ideals, and there's nothing that would happen to you that we won't be there to fight for you. You know that.
Okay, so we're all nice again with the Prime Minister of Britain, although the Muslim mayor of London doesn't like Trump at all, and he never will.
Well, President Obama just disrespected the England, the United Kingdom, almost his whole time he was in office. So this is good to hear.
Yeah, okay, but there's no stronger friendship in the world between the United States than the one between the United States and the State of Israel. And the president has repaired a lot of damage with that. Listen to what Bibi Netanyahu in Davos had to say about the president standing up for Israel by declaring Jerusalem to be the one true capital.
But the big move, and something that was very historic and very important, was the fact that we will be moving our embassy, as you know, to Jerusalem. And as we also know, that is way ahead of schedule by years. And we anticipate having a small version of it opened sometime next year. So that's a long time ahead of schedule, and it's an honor, and it's a great honor to be with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. President Donald Trump.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, I want to say something, because this is the first meeting we've had since your historic decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital and to move the embassy and now to expedite the movement of the embassy to Jerusalem. And I want to say that this is a historic decision that will be forever etched in the hearts of our people for generations to come. People say that this pushes peace backward. I say it pushes peace forward, because it recognizes history, it recognizes present reality, and peace can only be built on the basis of truth. By recognizing history, you've made history, and we will always remember that. We also support you completely and your stalwart position on the Iran nuclear deal. You said it's a disastrous deal. You said that if its fatal flaws are not fixed, you should walk away from it, and I want you to know that if you decide to do that, then we will back you all the way. We also appreciate the fact that you confront Iran's aggression with us and with other parties in the region as never before. I've never seen the realistic alliance between the United States, Israel, and your other allies in the region as strong, as unified as it is under your leadership.
You know, Vic, I got a piece about, interesting piece about the Iran military has halted the routine harassment by its armed fast boats of U.S. Navy vessels in the Persian Gulf, said a U.S. military spokesman. They were welcomed it, but were at a loss to explain it. The boats, for the last 2 years, would dart toward U.S. vessels as they passed through the Persian Gulf, risking miscalculation, but haven't done so for 5 months, said officials. The fast boats, typically armed with 50 caliber machine guns and rocket launchers, have come within shooting distance of American naval vessels that counters routine even though each one presents a potential danger to vessels transiting the international waters. Now, Vic, why do you think they all of a sudden have stopped?
It's no coincidence.
Right.
Okay. Vice President Pence addressed the Israeli Knesset, and he gave an epic address to the lawmakers there about the U.S. And its historic tie with the State of Israel. Let's start.
And the people of the United States have always held a special affection and admiration for the people of the book. In the story of the Jews, we've always seen the story of America. It is the story of an exodus, a journey from persecution to freedom, a story that shows the power of faith and the promise of hope. My country's very first settlers also saw themselves as pilgrims, sent by Providence to build a new promised land. The songs and stories of the people of Israel were their anthems, and they faithfully taught them to their children, and do to this day.
Yeah, so we're going to go right to the end here because you're going to want to hear Mike Pence talk about the three great faiths of the world. We're common descendants, all to be found in Jerusalem, the capital that's recognized by the United States now. Listen to number 14.
Today, Jews, Christians, and Muslims, more than half the population of the earth, and nearly all the people of the Middle East, claim Abraham as their forefather in faith. Only steps from here in the old city of Jerusalem, we see the followers of these three great religions in constant contact with one another. And we see each faith come to life in new and renewed ways every day. At the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, we see a Christian child receiving the gift of grace in baptism. At the Western Wall, we see a young Jewish boy being bar mitzvahed. And at the Haram al-Sharif, we see young Muslims, heads bowed in prayer. In Jerusalem, we see all this and more. And so today, as I stand in Abraham's promised land, I believe that all who cherish freedom and seek a brighter future should cast their eyes here to this place and marvel at what they behold. How unlikely was Israel's birth? How more unlikely has been her survival? And how confounding and against the odds has been her thriving? You've turned the desert into a garden, scarcity into plenty, sickness into health, and you turned hope into a future. Israel is like a tree that has grown deep roots in the soil of your forefathers, yet as it grows, it reaches ever closer to the heavens. And today and every day, the Jewish state of Israel and all the Jewish people bear witness to God's faithfulness, as well as your own. It was the faith of the Jewish people that gathered the scattered fragments of a people and made them whole again. That took the language of the Bible and the landscape of the Psalms and made them live again. And it was faith that rebuilt the ruins of Jerusalem and made them strong again. The miracle of Israel is an inspiration to the world. And the United States of America is proud to stand with Israel and her people as allies and cherished friends.
Sometimes language rises above everything and it elevates your soul. And that delivery of that message by Vice President Pence was akin to one of the best sermons I've ever heard. I mean, it talks about ancient holy tradition and the fact that all three major religions of the world, there are other major religions, but the three primary major religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, have founded their roots in Abraham, the prophet Abraham, and And so they share this city of Jerusalem as a trust. Israel is a nation that is free and democratic, and it's a Jewish state, yet Muslims live there unhindered, and people of other religions live there unhindered. There's no persecution there, unlike in Egypt, where it's a Muslim nation and they may be friendly to the United States, but Coptic Christians get persecuted along with Jews. Israel is a unique gem of civilization in the Mideast. The other Arab nations are starting to realize that they need to follow Israel's example and link arms with Israel to make the Middle East prosperous and to get their next generation beyond all of this hatred.
That speech by Mike Pence is going to last a long time in history.
We're not lasting much longer. Trump Talk Live is over for now, but we want you to tune in next week for another exciting episode of Trump Talk Live.
Feeling stuck in a state of compensation stagnation? You know, another year with no raise. Then let State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand help you get to a better state with a discount double check that can stretch your hard-earned dollars a little farther. Sonia will go through your car insurance to make sure you're getting all the discounts you deserve. Discounts that could add up to 40% and put a few hundred extra dollars in your pocket. Sound good? Then get your budget to a better state by calling State Farm agent Sonia Mori in DeLand today. Discounts may vary state to state.
You've been listening to Trump Talk Live, making America great again, 1 hour at a time. Follow us at Volusia County Republican Party on Facebook or go to our website, TrumpTalkLive.com for updates. Join your Trumpublican hosts, Vic Baker and Tony Ledbetter, for another fearless edition of Trump Talk Live next Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on WNDB 1150 AM and 93.5 FM. Trump Talk Live is presented each week by the Republican Party of Volusia County, where we the people have the right voice when it comes to defending America's founding values. In God we trust. In America we believe.
The Republican Executive Committee of Volusia County is responsible for the content of this advertising.